All right, it's Friday, Chicago Hockey Radio. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for stopping by wherever you are from. I haven't even really mentioned, maybe we have a little bit, but just the amount of listeners from all over, the amount of people not from Chicago. I know a lot of our listeners are from Chicago, but the amount of people from not just around the United States, but it's been really big, but all over Canada and, you know, all over countries like Brazil and the Czech Republic and Sweden and Finland, and it's been really cool seeing the amount of people that have reached out to us. So thank you to you all. We hear you. We appreciate you listening in, and, you know, some special love to you on this Friday. From us, boys, how are we feeling? Hawks back to back, Friday, Saturday, tonight against the Nashville Predators, tomorrow against the Dallas Stars. 2 games. We have a rumor we're going to dig into, but how are we feeling, boys? Happy Friday.
Yeah, pretty good. Just good to get the Friday, White. They let us get the Friday again. What are they doing over there? But yeah, no, exciting weekend. We got a game against the Preds tonight. A team that struggled so far to start the season, 1-5, but they did just get their first win, 4-0 against the Bruins. So I'm not expecting this to be an easy game, especially since the Preds have kind of owned us in recent memory. But I think this is a team that definitely could use a win right now. Then we got the Stars tomorrow, back to back at Dallas. So that's gonna be a tough game. It's almost like you look at today's game, like lay everything you got tonight, because tomorrow's probably gonna be a rough one. I say that though, the only back to back we've had this season against the Oilers, and that was our best game. So maybe that's in our formula, boys. Maybe we show up and look great tomorrow. But Stars, I don't know, not really that excited for tomorrow. But I think today, Preds team, is a winnable game for sure.
That Stars game seems like a rough turnaround because we're playing in Chicago tonight, and then it's like, what, the game's probably going to end around 10:30, 10 o'clock.
And it's the same start time too, 8:30 tonight and at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah.
Do they fly out in the morning or do they fly out tonight?
It's a good question, actually.
No,
I would imagine they fly out tonight after the game.
Yeah. Again, they're pretty late, and then you're sleeping in, get the nap in. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little sleepy tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know. Sometimes you see teams in the NHL like go back to back and play better just because they're not thinking about anything else.
What's the travel like to Dallas? It's not that bad.
Couple hours, right?
Yeah, probably only a few hours, but
and you got your legs under you. You're in the system.
Can't be more than 4.
I think to start the game, sometimes like the team that's on a back-to-back looks better, but then as the game where it goes on, right, the fatigue starts to set in. And that tends to favor the team that isn't on a back-to-back. But it gets the team with the Stars. We'll see. Could be a tough one, but hopefully not.
It's 2.5-hour flight. So
Peter Mrazek is going to start in goal tonight.
Well, that's the other thing. Mrazek tonight, Soderblom tomorrow. But although you could argue Soderblom's actually looked better of it too, but that's also 5 games versus 2. And I think the Nucks game kind of ruined Mrazek's stats. They were pretty similar before that game. Yeah.
While we're on the goalies, Luke Richardson said Laurent Brossoit meniscus won't travel with the team at the start of the road trip, but he's expected at some point, perhaps in San Jose, still a week or 2 away from returning to game action. So, yeah, it seems like that's how they're going to go tonight, tomorrow with Mrazek, Soderblom. But what do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to dig into tonight's game a little bit? Philip Kurashev's back in the lineup for Andreas Athanasiou. What do you guys think? Nashville's 1-5. They just picked up their first win. It was a pretty good win, and now they're trying to get back into it. What are you guys feeling tonight?
I think. Oh yeah, you go.
Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to see Kurashev back in the lineup. I mean, we expected it, but still, I was a little nervous about that. But yeah, he's back in his 2C spot, so that's good for him. They haven't changed their first line yet. I'm a little surprised by that. I think it's good to keep Betsy Turbo together, but Foligno's still in that top line. I don't know about that. I think they could use somebody different up there, somebody with speed like a Hall or even Bertuzzi. I know he's not speedy, but just his net front presence. And then the rest of the line's basically the same. We still got Reichel as a 4C. Not sure what's up with that. We got Maroon and Smith on his wings. I think Reichel deserves a promotion. I think he deserves top 6 time, or at least, bump up to third line, just something. And then the defense is pretty much the same. Not really sure who's getting scratched there, if it's going to be, because right now it says Allen and Phillips are rotating, so I'm not sure if they're going to get Phillips in. I would think, you call them up, you want to get them in a game, so we'll see. I do like the power play units, though. I think this is the most balanced I've seen the Hawks power play units look. We got Bedsy, Turbo, Burt, Foligno, Vlasic. Vlasic's been promoted to the top pair. That's pretty interesting for the power play. And Jones has been demoted, I should say, to PP2. After him, we got Hall, Kurashev, Reichel, Maroon. So pretty balanced power play, but I do find it interesting that they moved Vlasic up and bumped Jones down. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I'm so much less concerned about the power play units than I am like the actual lineup. I
Yeah,
don't understand why some of these guys have just been able to play the whole time, and I'm gonna keep
Mikheyev.
about it. And it's not just him. It's like, so why you want to get Kershaw back in the lineup? Why are you scratching Anthony Siu? He's looked good. He's so fast. He's a player that should be in this. If
Should be
you
playing with Reichel.
if you're creating four of the top lines from this in the entire Blackhawks organization, Anthony Siu should be in there somewhere. It makes no sense why he's the one that's getting cut. It's like he's cutting the wrong players. Like what? Like finally, fucking Anderson's cut, but it's like why is Mikheyev in there? Why like the entire third line, Maroon too, Smith. It's like leave Anthony Siu in the roster. Yeah, bump down Foligno, put Anthony Siu up on that group with Bedard and Teravainen, or do it with Reichel, or do it with Kurashev. Put one of those guys up there. Why is Mikheyev still in the lineup?
Again, Agent 007 is going to come Agent 008 after tonight, probably. I don't understand how he's not been scratched yet, but
it's not even like us like just scratching our heads. It's just a bad precedent to set as a coach. Like nobody knows what gets you cut or what gets you in the lineup. Like Anthony Siu has not looked worse than Pat Maroon or Ilya Mikheyev. He hasn't. So why is he cut again?
Yeah, it's very questionable. I know Richardson likes having that, that kind of dog in him, Maroon, the physicality brings, but that's like all he does. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think he needs to be playing every single game too. There's other guys too, like Smith too. Like that's another good question there. Anthony Siu should be playing on Reichel's wing or something like that, or Reichel should be playing on the wing and Anthony Siu could be the center. That's a good connection. We've seen it. That connection looked great in the game that I was at against the Sabres, and that's the only game they played together this season. I don't understand that.
He's looked better than everybody on that third line.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
Why do you cut a guy? It's bad coaching is what it is. It's bad decision making. And yeah, I'm just not happy with that. Obviously we'd like to see, I would love to see Kurashev on that first line. Why have we not done that yet?
Yeah, the question becomes, who do you put at 2C? That is the question, right?
Like the kid has his
2C Reichel. That's the question.
Who cares? Put some other scrub in there. Put Dickinson on the 2C as the 2C. It doesn't matter. Why are you forcing these young players who aren't centermen to play center when you've got all these prospects in the pipeline that are centers? It's like, why are you trying to force Kurashev to be it? Kurashev has his career year last year. He's the best season of his career. And you punish him by taking him away from Bedard and then making him a center. It's like, why is this guy a center?
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? I mean, we've seen the connection they have. I mean, could you imagine those three together, Kurashev, Bedsy, Turbo? That could be a ridiculous top line. I do think Bedsy, Turbo needs somebody else up there. I love Foligno, but he's not a first-line player the way he is now. He should be playing third-line with Dickinson or, just bump him down. Need somebody else up there, whether it's Kurashev, whether it's Hall, whether it's Bertuzzi, whether it's Reichel, somebody else up there, I think, for sure.
You guys, so the Hawks power play is actually currently 7th in the NHL right now at 27.3%.
Literally just because of that one game, though.
It's the Oilers.
There's one team in the NHL without a power play goal. Do either of you know who it is?
Is it still the Sabres?
Oh, Buffalo? Good guess. Yeah, it is Buffalo.
I was right. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. We're cooking today.
I watching the highlights of that Devils and Wings game yesterday. It's like neither of those teams could kill penalties. It'll be interesting to see like what teams are able to develop a good penalty kill and power play, because like towards the end of the season that becomes, obviously one of the most important aspects of the game is special teams. So
well, it's gonna be something interesting tonight too, because I know, Predators, say what you will, the early season struggles. One thing that hasn't been a struggle for them is their penalty kill. They're ranked third right now. So the Hawks power play might have a tough time tonight against Preds, but we'll see. Both our power plays, eighth for us, and then theirs is kind of mid 19th, but that's going to get going, right? When Stamkos and Marchessault, those guys get going, that's going to improve. So, but should be an interesting game. This Preds team, I look at that record 1-5. It's like it kind of brings me back to that Sabres game last week. Like a normal person look at that and think, oh, like this is a game we should win. I look at that and say, this Preds team's kind of due, and they finally got that first win. It seems like they got the momentum now. It's like, I don't think this will be a tough game, I think. But we'll see.
I talked about it on the morning show today. Shameless plug, Good Morning Hockey. Everybody go listen to that. Me and Raven in the mornings. But was talking about the Sharks, who lost again yesterday to the LA Kings 3-2, and they were down 3-0, and they fought back and made it 3-2, and that was the final score. And I don't know, they're still without a win. And when I talk about the Sharks, it's at a point now where it feels like you're at a breaking point, where if you lose the next game and you lose the game after that, like, it's gonna spiral. Like, it's really gonna spiral here, and there's gonna be, I understand the Sharks aren't gonna really make the playoffs here, but even just, there's a difference between this being like a 50-point season and like a 65-point season, you know, and how much you're able to get these kids to develop. Like Will Smith really hasn't looked great in these games, and, you know, not to do like Sharks minute here, but the Hawks are now, like, this is a crucial back-to-back in my opinion. Like, you have to come away here with one. You gotta win one. You gotta win one at least. Otherwise, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? We're, you know, sitting at, what would that be, 2-6-1, right?
Yeah, at least get an OT point. 2-6-1. Yeah.
And
the games are close,
if Nashville beats us, they have 4 points. So that means they're, you know, just 1 point behind us. We're at basically the bottom of the Central.
I don't think one win isn't enough.
Too.
One win isn't enough. Honestly,
you think we gotta win both of these games?
Well, no, I meant 1 point. Sorry, I meant 1 point. Like, like getting 1 point. I misspoke there. I look at the penalty. The power play is high up there. I understand it was the one game, but and we're early on here, but and like 40% power plays clicking right now aren't going to be sustainable. And but I just, you know, the Hawks have a middle of the pack power play right now. They're at 13th right now. It's at 78.9%. And I think that is something you can either maintain or even look to improve on, right? It's not like some of these ridiculously high ones where you're looking at it as a team even and being like, hey, you know, we understand we're not going to cook, you know, at the rate that we were cooking at. Like that Oilers power play last year. Like, this is not every team that's early going right now. Lee, you want to talk about stuff that doesn't matter. This is stuff that doesn't matter. But when you're in the middle, it does kind of a little bit, because you can then still, we're almost at that point now where teams look at things in 10-game segments, and that is a good sample size to look at some data here for some of these players and teams and trends. And you know, I think the Hawks should be better. I think the Hawks, if the special teams are this good right now, let's get a couple wins here, right?
Yeah, but for what? So, like, what are you concerned about? Like, the thing is that we can talk about like points and stats and standings all day, but it's like, where do you want to be? And also, you got to look at the Central Division and how stacked it is and all the teams ahead of us. Like, the team immediately ahead of us is you know, the Colorado Avalanche. Like, that's you know, like, how are we even going to get above them? Let alone, you know, Winnipeg hasn't lost a game. You know, so
I thought you thought the Avalanche suck.
I do too. I
do, but they're higher end talent.
Yeah, no, we're not going to fish out of them. Yeah, that's fair.
No, the Avalanche and the Hawks are the same thing. It's just they have Nathan McKinnon and Mika Ray.
They have that top end talent. All we have is Betsy in terms of top end talent.
We have Jones, Teravainen, and Bedard.
Yeah,
the rosters built very similarly. It's like no defensive depth, zero forward depth, and then not good goaltending.
Yeah, so, I mean, the only teams in the division I think we could potentially finish ahead of is, I think, St. Louis. I know they've been better than people think to start the season, but I'm still not high on that team. I still think we could finish ahead of them.
What if the Hawks win tonight? Like, what do you guys think in Nashville if the Hawks win tonight?
Well, I mean, the way they started the season, I don't know. That doesn't look like a playoff team right now. I think if we beat them tonight, that's not a good sign for them. I mean, I think that's more than just one game, right, for them. You dropped to 1-6-0 last in division. I mean, I think you could still come back, especially this early in the season, but I think that'd be a very telling loss for them.
I really did think that it was going to take their team some time, because it's like your top six now is basically just thrown together. bringing in two guys like that on the forward group, like it's going to take time to gel on the power play and just the regular lines. I still think they have a way better chance of making the playoffs than we do. And I still think they probably will.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about that. They definitely have a better chance than us. But
it's like,
you tell me if they lose tonight against a Hawks team that dropped to 1-6, that wouldn't be concerning?
It just doesn't. It's not that much different than losing their last game. It's like, what if they lose tonight against the Hawks and then win 4 in a row? And then all of a sudden it's like, it doesn't matter.
Then they're 5-6.
Yeah, and you're fine. If the Preds are 5-6, you're telling me you think they're going to make the playoffs? No, I'm saying that, yeah, I think losing one game at the beginning of the regular season to like a bad team doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. The only reason I would say you'd want the Hawks to play well, not just because you have a podcast about the Hawks, but only because like you want these pieces that you might be selling off the deadline, the Taylor Halls, the whoever you could trade. I would say trade them. The Connor Murphys, if you can find a way to move off of that deal. If you could find pick a deal, any deal.
I'd say Martinez, but he's hurt right now.
Scratching Athanasiou. You guys want to talk about how that's a blunder of a move because that's a player you could trade at the deadline.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if you package these players to the right team that has the right amount of cap space, and maybe you withhold the right amount of salary. I don't know if the Blackhawks have any of the 3 retained salary slots used right now on any contracts from any other previous trades. I don't know if you guys would know that.
I'm not sure.
The ability to do that, like that's why I would say, like, how about like getting a first round pick? How about getting another first round pick in this draft that's looking really good? And if that's the goal, like then that's the goal, right? But so I think with that like comes winning, and we've talked about maybe the need to trade up at some point in the draft this upcoming summer, and I know we're a long ways away, but maybe things are on a bit sooner. Like they realize this, like that time also does come quick. The season's going to end before we know it. I know it just started, but everything kind of blinks really quick. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that, but like, we're going to get into the rumors and stuff about things that I've talked about for months. I've said the Blackhawks are going to be in on a trade, and I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about it?
Yeah. You want to start us? I think me and Justin feel very similarly about.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here. So I'll read
great.
the rumor.
Everybody agrees, show. Everybody loves that.
I don't know. I think we'll tell you why.
Okay. Yes. So from Ben, I'll talk. So from Ben Pope, Friedman reports the Blackhawks would like to trade for a center, as would the Preds and Flames. With Nazar not winning the 2C job and Kurashev not impressing there so far, it makes sense. Although I doubt they'd be willing to sacrifice any prospects in a trade. So yeah, the Hawks are looking for a young 2C, which it's like, I look at all these offseason moves we made, 7 free agent additions and the trades we made, the Mikheyev trade. It's like, well, if this is something you see as a need, I don't understand why they didn't just do this during the offseason. But I don't think this is a move we need to be making right now. This looks like a win now move right now. I think if this was next year, I'd kind of agree with something like this. But it's like we have so much prospects in the system already. We got these Frank Nazars, these Oliver Moores, and Sasha Boyveras that are going to be showing up pretty soon. And it's like we want to trade for a 2C right now. It's like, why not just play Nazar there? Or just, Kurashev, you say you give up on him, you give him 6 games. I don't think Kurashev's a center. I don't think he should be playing there. I think he should be on the wing. But there are other guys on this team, Dickinson, that you could be playing in that 2C spot. I just don't think this is a move the Hawks need to be making right now. I mean, if you can do it for cheap, right? I could kind of see it. Somebody like a Trevor Zegras or a Dylan Cousins would be great, but it's like I think you probably have to give up a decent prospect or a solid draft pick. I'd rather save that for this year's draft, right? If we overperform this year, win more games and are higher up in the standings, I'd rather use that draft capital to move up because I think a top 5 pick in this draft is essential for this organization to get that forward. So I don't know what you guys think about this move. To me, it sounds great. I know a lot of people will probably like it, but for me, I look at it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest.
I think the only reason why you do it, if I'm playing devil's advocate, not just agree with you, you make this move now because you want to keep Philip or Frank Nazar and some of these prospects in Rockford most of the season. if that's the case and you want to keep them in Rockford, but then you also need somebody else to play 2C instead of Philip Kurashev, I guess that's why you go do it. But that still just doesn't make sense because then you're going to give up assets for we let's be honest, we probably have a good 2C in our prospect pipeline. So it's like, why even risk, why offer up prospects or draft capital when you could be doing that to just get like higher picks in the next year or two. So it doesn't really make sense to me. I'd rather see them do it at the end of the year and play Frank Nazar right now as the 2C.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, can I share my opinion instead of just to stoke a little bit here?
Sure.
So I personally, did you read the exact tweet from whoever it was about
I read
this?
the Ben Pope one summing it up, not the Friedman or Pagnota, whoever it was from.
Okay.
Friedman thing was just an article. So
Okay.
Did he write about it in his 32 Thoughts blog or?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to try and find that, but so my thoughts here are the Blackhawks are a few star pieces away. And, you know, if you like to, and I think this is a good way to do it because I think those 10, 13, 15 teams were built how you'd want to build a Stanley Cup contender still today. Like that mold. If you could build a team like that with two stud defensemen, above average goalie that can kick and make saves for you at crucial moments and not give up the bad goal and, you know, make the one extra save, the few star for the Kane Tays cornerstones, the supplemental superstars, the Marion Hoses, the Patrick Sharps, we're talking like that's what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. Still, last year, you look at the Panthers, Barkov, Kachuk, cornerstones, back end, Forsling, Ekblad, all those guys, Montour, that combined was probably Keith Seabrook to some extent. And, I mean, you know, the Hawks even had players like Jalmerson, and that's why they won 3 in 5 years, right? Because they had all of those guys. So if that's the expectation, then the Hawks are a really long ways away from that. The one question is how much of Connor Bedard's career do you want to waste to get to that point? A lot of these guys you're talking about, the Nazars, the Moores, the whoever, Sasha Boisvert, all of these guys are great and all. Like that's great that they're good picks and they look good so far and they look good right now. You have no idea what they're going to look like at the NHL level by game 100, by game 200, by game 300 or 500. You have no idea. So if you have the opportunity right now, while Connor Bedard is in the second year of his contract, to go and get another piece at a reasonable cost.
Which is what?
Reasonable cost.
So Trevor Zegras seems to be the name that everybody's talking about.
Which I'd be happy about that. If it was like a second round pick and like a mid-tier prospect.
That's what we're saying. It's like yes, we can
Would you trade Sasha Boisvert for Trevor Zegras? I would.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. Right away.
Probably.
If I'm Pat Verbeek, I'm probably asking for a little bit more. I mean, Pat Verbeek may even like a player like Boisvert a little bit more. But because I don't know. It seems like they're working on like repairing that relationship there, but even still, I think he could use
he needs a change of scenery.
I think he was pretty close to going to Montreal at some point, and then it just kind of like stopped.
Just watching this early season, it seems like the same deal as last year. It just doesn't seem to be that same. He doesn't seem like the same player right now that he was his first couple of years. So if it's somebody like that, and if it's not costing us too much, which is Zegras, I don't think they could really afford to get too much back right now, the way he's been playing, which is probably a benefit for us, then I'm all for it. It's just the way I see it now. It's like, what are we expecting out of this team this year? It's like they're making this move expecting like, oh, we need to see on this team right now because they expect to be a playoff team or something. It's like I just don't really see that in the cards. I think this team should be not tanking. I'm not saying we should be tanking this year, but it's like, let's be honest. Like this is a move that will get us a few more wins, but it's like I don't think this will really change the trajectory of this team this year. Maybe in the future it would, but it's like I feel like we got guys in the system. Yes, we don't know what they're going to be, but that's the whole point, right? We have all these options. We have Halvard, Moore, Frickdays, or Boisvert. There's 3 guys right there that could be your 2C. It's like I don't know. I just don't think this is a trade right now that we need to be making. If it was a year later, maybe. but this isn't a playoff team. We're rebuilding. I'd rather play somebody like Nazar there. I know they say he didn't win the job. What, we're basing this off of preseason? Like, really? I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Also, what if you just take the draft capital that you do have now? Because we have so many picks in the next couple years. We're not even going to have, we won't have room on the roster for how many people we're going to have. Like,
That
we're
is the thing.
have to start packaging picks. So it's like, why don't you just package all of these like second, third round picks, or a lot of them, and get a top 5 pick in the draft?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like that's what we should be saving the draft capital for. I guess you could do it both because we have so much draft capital. You could probably make it both work, right? You could probably trade for a high pick in this draft and get that 2C. I mean, that's a potential possibility. I don't want to give up a first round pick though, or like a hot prospect for a 2C though. That's my thought. If it's like a second rounder and like I don't know, like a mid tier prospect, fine. But I don't want this. If the cost is reasonable, like Tassos said, I'm all for it. But I just don't think that will probably be the case.
Yeah, if you're Anaheim, you probably aren't like, if Trevor Zegras was our player, we probably wouldn't be like, yeah, I'd be okay with giving him away for a second and like a
no way.
Heard of, like the way we feel about our prospects is how like these teams feel about their young players.
I'd rather save that first rounder to trade up in the draft. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. It would also be cool.
Connor Bedard's 19 years old.
He's the third youngest player in the league, so I don't think this worry about wasting his early part of his career. This is an entry level contract.
Well, I mean, you're throwing his entry level contract out the window.
You were never going to win during it, though.
But at least even like not looking like the San Jose Sharks.
We're not.
Yeah, like we're showing improvement there.
We're not getting shit on in every game. Like every game we play, we're close.
Our worst game this season, we lost by 3 goals, and it should have been 1 goal if the refs did their job.
Half the team you're pegging as guys that won't be with the team when they're competitive. Maybe even more than half.
It's gonna change if next year's Hawks.
Yeah, because it's like that's Tassos. Dude,
that's what I'm saying. If it's changing next year, then this could just be like getting a jump start on that. That's all I'm saying.
I understand your perspective, but it's like I've been following this team forever. It's like you committed to this rebuild. Why just like get rid of that plan now? It's like you've committed to this rebuild. You've developed all this draft capital for yourself. You have all these draft picks coming up. You have all these young prospects. Why are you now going to be like, let's hurry this along and get a silly second, a second line center for too much draft
I'm not saying
capital?
to like trade for like Nikolai Ehlers or something, but I'm saying to trade for like a young Trevor Zegras is 22 years old.
What is Trevor Zegras so what are you okay with giving for Trevor Zegras, and what does Trevor Zegras do for this team?
I'd give up a package of Boyver and Del Mastro and maybe one other player if they wanted to like do like a little like a 3-for-1. I would do something like that. I don't know if if the Hawks really need to like throw in a pick or anything like that. I don't know. I would be hesitant to get rid of first or second round picks, obviously, and I don't think like a third rounder is going to like move the needle either way, maybe, but I'd rather try and offload some of the log jam at these prospect positions. If you could trade like 3-for-1 and get like a player that's been playing in the NHL for 3 years in Zegras and see if you can make him better, I don't know. I think that might be worth more than what Sasha Boyvert's going to be in 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want to. I don't see Kyle Davidson kind of doing that though.
Yeah, like we just drafted him. Yeah,
like just be like, yeah, let's go get this guy now. It's like, because why wouldn't he have done that in the offseason? I don't like when general managers do that. Like, if you have a plan, stick with it. I don't like he's made his bed. It's time for him to lie in it. I don't want to like go back and like, now try to win and get like.
It's not trying to win. It's just because you get Trevor Zegras. It's not like that's gonna make you a Stanley Cup contender. It's just a piece.
I understand what you're saying. It sounds like a risk. It just sounds like gambling. It's like we're gambling that Trevor Zegras is going to look as good as he has, and that's what he needs is a change of scenery. And all of a sudden, boom, he's going to be back to 60, 70 points.
That's how it works.
The dual Michigans would be pretty interesting, though.
Look at the Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe. They signed him from like he was like a flyer from he couldn't play on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like he couldn't crack the lineup when he was on the Lightning before, and he was released he was drafted by the Maple Leafs, went to the Islanders, and then went to the Lightning, and then now is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion and one of the most clutch guys in the game, and getting paid over $50 million to play hockey now. And
but they probably didn't trade a first overall pick, a second overall pick. And
who said anything about that?
No. I'm sorry. I mean these players that you just suggested we drafted, that you suggested we trade our first. And second.
But they also got guys like Sam Bennett, who Sam Bennett was a high 4th overall pick, 5th overall pick, and it wasn't working out in Calgary because they didn't know how to allow him to play his game, which is so effective. And he didn't really maybe know how to play with that edge to that full extent that he needed to, that he learned in Florida, right? So you get a guy like Zegras. I don't know. I'm just saying that it takes those guys too to win a Stanley Cup.
Here's what I think they should do. It's play some of these prospects most of the year. Play Frank Nazar at that 2C most of the year. Let the chips fall where they may. If the team ends up being bad again, that's fine, because now these draft picks that you have are going to be, the value of them is going to be higher because the team performed badly. And then this offseason, go and make those trades if you want. Trade up in the draft. Try to get another prospect. Try to get, a Trevor Zegras or somebody along those lines. I just don't get why you do it now. Why'd you just make all these off-season moves to do that now?
And I'd rather wait for a big move like next year's offseason. Like Zegras is kind of like it's a move. It's a good move, but I'd rather wait, for the offseason next year to get like a big fish, a massive fish, the biggest, most tremendous fish you can get. That's what I would do. Another word for me is like if Zegras does work out the 2C spot, that's great. But then it's like, what happens to, next year, like the year after, when guys like Moore and Nazar show up, like, are they 3Cs? I guess you could always move them to the wing. Zegras could always play the wing too. So I guess that's not really an issue. That's just another thing I thought of too. It's like, then it's like you're creating even more of a log jam, but I don't know. That's another thought.
Yeah. You want to talk about log jams. The Blackhawks have 1 million center prospects and then 1 million left-hand defensemen. Do you need more of you? Yeah, but not for another one.
For one that's an NHLer, maybe.
I see your point.
I guess.
I see your point.
I agree with the sentiment that, let's start getting some quality over quantity here.
I just think we're your way.
I just don't know if Trevor Zegras is the guy I'd want to.
It's an example. I don't know who else is available right now.
Dylan Cousins, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
he's been trying to.
If you could pull
that's somebody I thought
that's a good. Owen Power. Is there any way you could pull him out of Buffalo?
Owen Power. No, we're talking about defense now. Huh?
I don't know. If I know we're talking about defense now, but you just said Cousins, and Cousins would fit the center mold. I don't know if he's. I mean, they paid him a lot of money. Like that's a big contract you're bringing in too.
Yeah. No, I don't know if they'd be probably not shopping him or anything.
Zegras is still on that bridge deal.
Yeah, that would make more sense from the contract perspective. Who else would it be for like a 2C? Trying to think of other examples.
I mean, I wouldn't want to bring in like a guy like Sam Bennett, even if it were a free agency next year, because
I think they want a young overpay
for him.
Yeah.
Sign Cousins to a 7-year deal. Yeah,
that's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know why. That's
just
the name I saw in the tweet. I don't know. That's players that could look out.
Who else was? I mean, I don't know who else would be available. Be cool if you could try and pull like a guy like Cole Caulfield out of Montreal, even though I know that's not going to happen.
Oh.
Yeah, we're daydreaming now. That would be nice though.
Yeah, I mean, if you packaged up enough, I don't know that the Habs would ever do it, but
it's like just package up and get a top 5 pick in this draft.
Yeah, I'm
looks
with you.
Like they're gonna get it without needing to, anyways. So,
which isn't a bad thing. Like there are fans who are way overreacting to the start of the season.
Picks, then it's like then you're set. They could have done it this past draft. He tried to do it.
Yeah, they were close.
He tried to solve all top 5 picks.
Would you trade a player for like Mitch Marner out of Toronto? No. I mean, you've already talked about this, but if he was out there.
That's what Justin's saying is we'd rather go for a big fish like that.
Yes.
This next offseason.
Yes.
Well, what if you could get him now for, let's say, like Kevin Korchinski I don't know who else. If you could get him for Korchinski, Boyver, and let's say Taylor Hall half retained, and I don't know, like give me another player off the roster and maybe another pick or something. No,
but why though? Like we could just sign someone in free agency. Like why would we trade for
who
that
are you
now?
signing
We
in
could
free
just-
agency? Mikko Rantanen's not coming here.
I don't know.
Right?
No.
Right? Like, I don't know.
I
Sometimes
see
you
what
gotta
you're
grab
saying,
these
yeah.
guys while they're
But, like,
available. It's Friday.
but-
We're going off the rails here, everybody.
Yeah.
But
We should probably get a different topic.
no, I
No, I actually don't want to get a different topic.
the
I
Freach
could
thing
talk
was
about
also
this.
just like it was a
Okay.
pretty one-off comment in the blog.
Yeah.
Like he just said like, oh, like keep an eye on Chicago too for all the same things I've been talking about with these.
He's a good source. Like when he says something, it's
Yeah,
like there's
obviously.
probably I bet you Kyle's working the phones.
He's
I
the
don't know
best
if
in the
he's not.
business.
Yeah, so it's like you better take it. Even if it's just one sentence, it's like okay, that's you gotta keep your eye on it.
It's Kyle's
Yeah.
job to be working the phones though.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sure he's always thinking. Yeah.
You got to be tapped in and always knowing what's available and what's out there and what the market is for your players and who's available from other teams potentially. There might be guys that, we're not even thinking of.
Yeah.
That might be
Brock
on the
Besser?
market right now. Brock Besser?
Yeah, I think his contract is up this season.
It is. But like, don't you think some of these teams are going to Brock Besser, Sam Bennett, these guys seem like players that teams are going to overpay for.
Probably.
Marian Hossa was never overpaid.
Do you think that Colorado signs Rantanen again?
Yes.
They'd be fools not to.
If they didn't, if I were the Hawks, I would throw everything at Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
I'd
That'd be
offer
sick.
him $12 million a year. 13, maybe more.
Or we just wait till 26 and get Kaprizov. Nah, we don't need to go back down that road.
If Mikko
Is it
Rantanen
Marner
is
a free
available,
agent? Is it Marner a free agent?
Marner is a UFA at the end. That's why I'm
But yeah,
saying
the league-
get him now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
like,
but I don't want Marner at like over $12 million.
No, but what if
and I want to give up half our prospect pool to get him too.
What if
Yeah.
what if he said, hey, I'll come here for 10 and a half?
Sure, I'd probably do it.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean that's probably
There you
fair.
go.
But it's like that's not a guy that's gonna win you a fucking ring, dude.
No, but if you get other guys with him and you
You
believe
need
that Connor Bedard is
Maybe
that
at Toronto,
superstar,
when
Some,
players
like-
leave the Leafs, they actually tend to win cups.
you
Actually,
need some like dirty fucking. I don't know. You need some scoundrels. This team has no scoundrels.
okay, then pay Sam Bennett $8 million on a contract this summer.
What's Brady Kachuk's term?
Oh,
Ooh, that's a good player. That's
you
like
go.
a perfect player for the system, man.
That if I could get one player, that'd probably
That's like the ideal player for like this Hawks team. Like that would be your Marian Hossa edition right there.
We do have some people talking in the chat, and I wanted to bring up some things.
Everybody's telling me I'm an idiot, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's good to
We
have
have-
different
I
discussions.
didn't even realize we were live.
You didn't know
We said
that?
this earlier, Lee.
Boy, where have you
But-
been?
Anyways,
God, my
Easily.
girlfriend was literally standing next to me, like liking the stream, trying to boost it, trying to like get my attention. I just
And you didn't notice. That's funny.
first question was from Spiros. When are we going to see the number 2 pick in Chicago delivering some bone crunching hits?
I think towards the end of this season, we're not going to see him for like the 2024 portion of the season. He's going to be on the Ice Hogs for most of the season, but I do think he will get a trial run with the Hawks at some point this year, probably towards the end. Levshinov, I hope he does. I think you should see him. You should give him some action this year for sure. But I think the goal probably is Ice Hogs for most of the season. I think he should be making his debut with them tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely that should be exciting. Should have a big season down there.
yeah.
Lee? I don't know. What do you think?
About Levshinov?
I don't know about anything, really, brother.
About anything. Dude, yeah, I don't want to see them stray away from Kyle's plan right now. Like, I understand wanting to have another talented center, to not make Philip Kurashev have to play center, to not make Lucas Reichel have to play center. But it's like, it doesn't make it's not consistent with what he's done so far. So I don't see it happening. Go get
What?
the big fish. Go get the big fish at the end of the year.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
As a Teravainen played center in his career, couldn't you just move
Yeah.
Teravainen to 2C? Yes, you'd be breaking up Bedard and Turbo. Then you could put Kurashev back on Betsy's wing. Then boom, you have Bedard, Teravainen. That's a pretty strong 1-2 center combo right there. Boom, problem solved.
Was Jason Dickinson not playing number 2 center last year?
Oh,
Yeah,
on last
but
year's
that's
Hawks team,
not-
he had no choice.
that's
I
not
mean,
a-
but he could put him up there.
Well,
This
you
year's
could
team, I don't know.
it's not even like what's
Yeah.
Okay.
I
We're
don't
talking
understand.
about Jason Dickinson over Mitch
Yes,
Marner.
yes. No, I'm not saying over Mitch Marner, you fool. I'm talking about right now. I'm saying stop playing Philip Kurashev at 2C, put Jason Dickinson there, and then put some other scrub as the third line center.
I know. I'm just screwing around with you. All right.
Like-
We'll
whenever
come
you
back to
lose-
this.
Yeah, let's get back to the question.
Whatever
Sorry.
you lose from having Jason Dickinson as your 2C, you gain from having Philip Kurashev play his normal position.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The Hawks have a lot of lineup questions they need answered as far as slotting these guys in.
It kind of
correctly.
reminds you what they did with Lucas Reichel. Like he played so well in 22-23 portion of the season on the wing. And then going into, last year, they put him at 2C, the center position when he looked so good on the wing. But like, why? He showed he could play well on the wing. Why are you putting him at center? That's kind of reminds me of what they're doing with Kurashev right now, to Lee's point. Yeah.
All right. What else, fellas? Martinez was also seen skating 4th day in a row. So that's a good sign. Seems
Should
like he
back
might
soon.
be
Yeah,
pretty close to returning.
that's good.
Do you
And
guys?
Brossois is like a week or two away, right?
Yeah. Is tomorrow's scheduled loss for the Hawks? Feels like
It feels like you got to win tonight, and then tomorrow is probably
So you
loss.
should say that because every time you say that, they win. So
okay. What?
Yeah,
I've
watch
said
them-
that- I've
watch
said
them
that
lose
once.
today and win
Okay,
tomorrow.
dude. Lee is feisty today. It's all right.
Yeah,
It's Friday.
Lee's busting your balls over
It's
there.
Friday.
no, it's just like I don't know. These early games, like, have you guys been watching these? It's like,
Uh-oh. Here we go again.
am I the only one? Am I going crazy that it's like teams will just not show up? Like the Avs have won what 2 games now?
They're 4-4.
Oh, okay, never mind.
All right, we gotta hit a break. We're gonna take a short break here. We'll come back with NHL Hour, but keep it here, everybody. Appreciate everybody in the chat and commenting and subscribing right now. Please continue to do so. We really appreciate it. But we'll be back in a short minute with NHL Hour, so we'll pick it up right where we left off here. All right, welcome back to NHL Hour, Chicago Hockey Radio. Justin Lynch, Lee Grossman, Tassos Kirkos, Raven Gasser. Don't know if I introed everybody off the hop, but if not, we'll do so again. Breaking news. That'd be cool if we got like we should get like a breaking news noise eventually.
It's
on
like
the board.
Kevin Weeks over there.
Yeah. Well, this one's from Larry Brooks, and it is Alexis Lafreniere extension, 7 years, 7.8, under 7.6. Sorry. Thoughts?
Yeah, that seems pretty fair to me. I think Lafreniere, the way he's been playing this year, just kind of building off of his season last year. Lee knows this. That's my boy over there, Alexis Lafreniere. I still think he could be an elite number one center in this league. I will stand by that comment. And I think 7.6, I think that's under 8. That's probably what you want to see. I think that's a pretty fair deal for the Rangers side. I think they'll be pretty happy with that. And yeah, I think their next order of business now is to get that Shesterkin situation figured out. But yeah, Alexis Lafreniere, good deal for them. Good to see him get extended there, and looking forward to seeing how he progresses.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about what we would pay for Alexis Lafreniere.
It was less than 8, right?
Like I think about his contract
because we knew it was going to be around 8. Yeah, we knew it was going to be around 8. So the question was, should it be more or less? I think I was saying 8 was fair. I think you all were saying I was crazy for saying that. And I think they must have agreed because it's 7.6, but not too far off.
7.6, I feel like is pretty reasonable just because we've seen his progression in his game so much in the past like year and a half that it's like if you're New York, you're okay signing that long-term deal now because you're hoping that in 2 years he's going to be well over that value. So that's a mentality. And so I would do the same if I was in their position. But now the interesting thing, as you brought up, is what's the cap situation like with Mr. Igor back there?
Can I ask you guys, could this contract end up becoming something similar with the rising cap to maybe the old Nathan MacKinnon contract that everybody was praising before his current one, the one that they won the Stanley Cup with him under?
I mean, I don't think Lafreniere is going to be MacKinnon, but I think to your point, I think this contract could age very, very well. 7.6, it might look like not a lot now, but maybe not quite worth it now. Maybe more like 6 something, 7. But I think he's going to be worth more than that because I think he's just going to keep getting better. I mean, he's had a good start to the season. I think he could be a point per game player this year or better in the future. So I think that's a pretty fair deal for a potential 1C, 7.6. Yeah, I'd run with that if I'm the Rangers and Lafreniere. I think he probably could have gotten more out of that, but I mean, right now, I think it's fair.
Yeah, $7.6 million in 6 years could be, what $3.8 million is right now, with just the way the cap's been moving. So yeah, I think it's an awesome time. I think it's like a great time to sign players, just especially young players, just because I feel like the cap is going to continue to grow. If you can get these guys that you really feel are developing well to like a long-term deal, you're setting yourself up for success. You're setting yourself up to underpay your top players, which is what, every general manager in the league realistically wants to do.
Yeah, get them signed and locked up now. Don't wait, right? I think Utah did that with Gunther. I think so far, early days, that's looking pretty good so far. So, yeah, I think it's a smart time, a good time for them to get that done for sure.
Yeah, Lafreniere has big boom bust potential for me. I've heard people make that Nathan MacKinnon comparison to him. Not necessarily. I think a lot of people think Alexis Lafreniere can play center at the NHL level too, which he hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot, I don't think.
He's just been playing with Trocheck and Panarin.
Yeah. So, but I think keep in mind, like the hype that surrounded this guy when he came into the
National he was getting Crosby comparisons, I remember. Yeah.
I was watching that guy like in class in college before he was drafted, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best player we've seen since McDavid." It's like,
I could see the MacKinnon comparison though, because I know he had an insane rookie year, but it's like with MacKinnon, it's easy to forget. Like it took him a little while to get going, right? Yep. Those first few years, he was not laying it up. So I'm not saying I don't think he's going to be MacKinnon, but I think Lafreniere could be above a point per game. Whether that's the winger center, I should have said could be in 1C, maybe more winger, but I think he's going to be a top line player, and I think he's showing that now. So I think this could age pretty well.
Yeah, I think he has like that 100-point potential, I would say.
He could.
So
I'd say more like 80, 90, but could be 100.
Here's the thing. He's been playing on one of the best lines in the league with Trocheck and Panarin now for a year and a half. I think that makes him look better than he is. I think that Alexis Lafreniere is somewhere in between $7.6 million and Nathan McKinnon. That's what I think about Alexis Lafreniere. I don't want to.
You're not as high on him as
No, I'm not going to say that
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a 100-point getter, because it's like, if you're not doing that with Artemi Panarin, who are you going to do it with?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard for players on the same line to both score like that. Sometimes one of the guys on the line is sort of the guy, right?
Yeah, but it's easy to get like secondary assists.
Yeah, fair. It is easy to get secondary.
Still 23 years old. He'll still figure his game out. I mean, some players just take time, get going. So I think he's only scratched the surface of what he can do. Yeah.
Ask Hayton in Utah if it's hard to score points when you're on a line with a couple good guys. I think that you see it all around the league. Guys, really profiting from who they're playing with.
I think, well, yeah, but Barrett Hayton isn't necessarily lighting up the NHL either.
Yeah, but he's scoring a lot.
Yeah, he's all right.
I think he and Lafreniere are both point per game right now, right? I think Lafreniere is 7, Hayton 6-6. Don't quote me on that.
I have no idea. Barrett, maybe.
I'm always a stats guy. I'm always.
I just know I was cashing fucking bets on him early on, like first couple games.
Yeah, they're kind of quieted down Utah after that hot start. Yeah.
That was bound to happen though.
Yeah, they're playing too good. Yeah.
He has 6 points in 8 games.
Okay, never mind.
This season, on pace for 62 points.
That would be a great season, but probably more like 50. But that would be a good season.
That would still be a really good season. All right, maybe, but you get my point. But 50 points is like the low end for Lafreniere. Like
at worst. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point now, especially with that cap hit, it has to be the low end. If anything, I don't think the Rangers would be particularly happy with a 50-point season. I think
they want to be around a point per game. Yeah.
It's a great contract. It's a really good contract. I'm not super high on him. But yeah, you can't argue that having this guy in 5 years from now at 7.6 isn't going to be most likely very good.
And it gives you some cost certainty now when you have to figure out Shesterkin. Now you do have one of the other wild cards out there certain and figured out. So
yeah, gives you a little more cap to work with too.
Yeah. The other extension, this one was not breaking news though for the first time on the show. That's exciting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, love that. Way better than when it comes out immediately after we get off air.
I'm so glad I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the other one that happened yesterday was the Shea Theodore extension, and I don't think this Lafreniere thing is in pen to paper yet, finalized, but it's right there on the goal line. Fried said 30 minutes ago that watch for something to get done over the next 24 to 48 hours. And then Larry Brooks said something that it was kind of pretty much done at that 7 times 7.6, 7.5 range. But the one that is done is the Shea Theodore extension. That one is 7.425 times 7.
Pretty similar.
Yeah. So pretty similar. Yeah. Pretty similar. But I would take Shea Theodore on my team over Alexis Lafreniere any day of the week, first of all.
I like Shea Theodore. I feel like he's always kind of flown under the radar a little bit in terms of top defenseman in the NHL. Very good top pair to D-man. Very solid both ends of the ice. Can have some issues of injury sometimes. And when he's healthy, I think, and on his game, very vital piece. I think that's a pretty fair contract for him. I think about 7.5, a little less than that. That's pretty in the ballpark, I would say, in terms of what he's worth.
Lee, who did Justin say that he would take? Not to like, let's put a ball on the Lafreniere. But when we did this last time, you said that you would take somebody over him. I forgot who it was.
I said I'd take Lafreniere over Seth Jarvis, and Lee thought I was crazy for saying that.
Seth Jarvis and Brock Faber.
I did say. I was just saying Brock Faber to piss off Wild fans. I thought I wasn't really being serious.
And when you said Tassos, when you just said that you'd take Shea Theodore, I thought Justin was gonna say, I don't know, I really like Lexi. That's why I laughed there. You saw me
it's funny.
start chuckling. I thought Justin was about to be back at it again.
No, we're
What? Fucking Justin thinks Lexi Lafreniere should have signed for 9.9.
Well, I mean, I think it could have got a little more, but I don't know. I think 7.6. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, I was thinking probably 8, but that's like not much of a difference.
What do you guys think Shea Theodore would have gotten on the open market?
I think more than that. He probably could have got around 8.
I think he could have got around 9 even.
Really? Oh,
I think so. The right team, the right situation.
Yeah, Stan Bowman would have been the first to show up there.
Yeah, seriously, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They've got such a solid defensive core over there, like locked up for a couple more years, Like they got
Hannafin, Petrangelo
till 26, 27. You got Hannafin till 27, 28. Now
Hannafin's
you got
been really good.
Yeah, it's been a good addition.
And then you got White Cloud still at 2.75 until 27, 28. So it's like, yeah, they dropped off a little bit offensively, but it's like they've got the
D's making up for it.
Have they? They got guys like Victor Olofsson too, and it feels like they can score on any given night.
I just mean like losing Marcia, so he's like their highest scorer, that hurts. But Jack Eichel has absolutely stepped up.
He's making up for it. Yeah.
It makes me think it's just always able to do it. They're always able to replace players just with ease and like the production. It's like they're playing Moneyball. But but the difference is like they're actually spending all the money, not like saving it. But it's like they're always able to do that. It's like, how long are they going to be able to sustain this? Like we always say every year, it's like, oh, this year maybe they finally start falling off. I know a lot of people are saying it this year, but it's like, no, it seems pretty seamless. Like this still seems like a playoff team. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, the Knights are dominant. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely in my group of teams that could win the Stanley Cup for sure.
Oh wow.
Yeah. 4 nations. I posed the question today that I've been talking about it a lot, and I think the jerseys are cool. First of all, except for the USA's, they're boring.
USA's are mid.
Yeah.
I would say the Canada jerseys are really nice, except beautiful. I don't know why they felt the need to write Canada on the Maple Leaf. Like, if they didn't put Canada there, I have no idea what country that is. But no, otherwise, that's a great jersey. But yeah, the USA ones are mid. The Sweden ones are classic. They always look like you can't go wrong with that. And the Sumi with Finland. I think all of them are great except for the US one, unfortunately. But it's not bad. It's just kind of
even the US. I wish they would use what the NTDP wear, like the light blue. With the USA going diagonal. Like, if you're going to keep it simple and clean, like, go with that look.
More of a classic feel, yeah.
The diagonal USA is so hard.
Like, oh, yeah. When the US came out to that against Canada in the 2020 World Juniors, I already knew the game was over. Yeah.
But I don't know that. How much do you think players are going to care about this? How much do you think, and how much do you think this matters? Because in the grand scheme of things, I don't know that everybody's going to be looking back on this. There's no Russia. There's no Czech Republic who just won the world championship. There's no Slovakia who medaled at the last Olympics. There's no Germany who got the silver medal at the Olympics before then and have Leon Draisaitl and Moritz Seider. There's a lot of talent missing. Right.
It is taking place during the All-Star break. I'm sure some players will be wary about, injuries and things like that, keep themselves in good, condition, shape, all that. But still, it's still international competition. You're still putting your home crest on. It's like anytime you do that, like you should be playing for your heart and soul. I'm sure a lot of players will feel that way. It's an honor to make that team, I think, for a lot of those players. So, and also, I think for a lot of players, it's almost like a tryout for the Olympics, in 2026, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to perform now. So it's like you secure a spot in the Olympics, which will really matter. It's like, let's be honest, this tournament is more for fun if we're going to be real and more entertainment. But the Olympics, that's all out. So I think a lot of players will be playing their heart out, to secure their spot in that team.
I think that the media can play a big part here in really hyping this up, because if they can overreact to certain results, like, if Canada or USA or Sweden, like if a good team loses early on and the media starts freaking out over, the Olympics and stuff, I think that can make these guys care a lot more. So I kind of hope that, whatever happens, people overreact just because we're going back to best on best in the Olympics. And there's literally nothing better than that. Like, honestly, for me, it's as good, if not better than the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And we haven't seen it in so long, since the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. Olympics, I haven't seen it since 2014. So I think we're all very starved to see it.
World
sure.
Cup of Hockey was kind of a joke too.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about that. The last thing I remember is the Olympics.
All I remember is the Phil Kessel tweet. Now, just sitting at home with my dog. I feel like I should be doing something important right now, but can't quite put my finger on it. That is my main takeaway from that tournament.
I just hope Russia's allowed to play in the Olympics, just because it's like if you win gold, it's like it's gonna have that asterisk like Russia did.
One less superpower. Yeah.
No. So I guess, I understand why.
Same deal with the World Juniors. Like, it's just not really the same, them not being there. I understand why, but
you got to let Russia play, right? Tassos?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question to just throw on me like that. Yeah. No, I mean,
as a hockey fan, you want Russia
hockey as a hockey
lens.
From a hockey lens, we understand why they're not playing. Also, correct. You know, they are. Yeah. Yeah, we understand why they're not playing, but for hockey's sake, you'd love to see them be able to compete when you consider the history between the U.S. and Russia and Canada and Russia, what those rivalries mean to the sport, and what level of players the Evgeny Malkins and Alexander Ovechkins, and you consider the net minding in the NHL, Sorokin, Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, and Bobrovsky. One of those guys is not making that team.
That is insane.
That is incredible to even think about. And but it doesn't matter because they won't even have to make that choice. So,
oh wait, hold up. Can we all go through right now and say who you're starting? Who are your two guys that you're benching, and who you're cutting out of those four?
Which four?
The Olympics. Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Sorokin, Shesterkin.
I would say starting Shesterkin, and then backup would be Bobrovsky, benching Sorokin.
Cutting
Vasilevsky?
Yeah, I mean, Vasilevsky right now, actually. Yeah.
Oh.
If this was a couple of years ago.
I want Vasilevsky in the room, though. I think I'm going Igor. I think I'm Sorokin. I think I'm going Igor, and then I think I'm taking Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I would say over the third goalie. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, so I have two. I have one Team Canada related question that folds back into the Hawks, and then we could talk about USA Hockey for a second.
Connor Bedard should be on the team.
Well, do you think he's thinking about it?
Yes. 100%. I think he's definitely thinking about it. I think he wants to be on that team. Not just again for this, but he wants to put a stamp of approval on the 26 Olympics, which that'll be a year later. I'd be shocked if he wasn't on that team anyway. But if you're Bedard, I think absolutely you want to be playing in that tournament.
On the he should be. I would think he's on the Four Nations team. Can you believe for Canada they have Brad Marchand as one of the players they already named to the team? And I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on in Boston right now or with the Bruins, but Brad Marchand is not playing well, and the Bruins are not playing well. And he's already on the team, and he might be very low on the depth chart.
If Brad Marchand's on the team and not Connor Bedard, I think we got to break down some doors over there. Yeah, no, he should be out there.
Yeah, I think he's thinking about it though. What do you think, Lee?
Who, Bedard? Yeah, I mean, I want him to play. I want to see him playing as much as possible and like the highest stakes. And obviously, he's going to be on the Olympic team. So yeah, I would like to see him on the Four Nations just to see who he plays with. Like,
I do worry it'd be more of a bottom six role, but
him with two other stars will be like amazing to watch. So yeah, I hope he does it. And I think he will. He loves hockey.
He much rather be doing that than sitting at home. Yeah, for sure.
You think fucking Connor, but he's 19. Like, I don't know, like everything we hear about this kid, like the fact that he stays on the rink for hours after the practices and they have to
He's obsessed with it.
You think Connor Bedard's not going to play in the Four Nations? Come on.
I'm sure that's a part of it, like a performance enhancer too. Like, I mean,
I actually think he'd pay to play in it.
Yeah. Any extra motivation, right? Hey, Betsy, you listen to this right now.
My goat is
straight games without a point. Let's get something going here, right? Let's have a big game. Let's get that first Hattie.
The USA should be the favorite going into it too, right?
Yeah, they're my favorite. Actually, I mean, I'm being biased, but the USA never does anything in the men's international competition. But hopefully, we can start changing that. But yeah, I think US because like I think Canada maybe has the edge in offense, but just the goaltending and I think even the D you could argue as well. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's US doesn't really have a
Defense
weakness.
is
Like
way better.
Canada's goaltending is a little questionable. Their defense and offense is great, but the goaltending, who's gonna be the starter? Yeah,
For
Aiden Hill?
Canada, Aiden
Maybe?
Hill,
yeah,
Jordan Binnington, or Joel
potentially.
Hofer.
Yeah. So ass.
I would love to stick around, but unfortunately, I got to get to my classes. I'll be seeing you guys on the post game show tonight.
Yes, we'll see you then.
Hasta la vista.
Who would be the captain for the USA team?
Matthew Kachuk.
Matthew Tkachuk?
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Brady Kachuk? No, it would be Matthew, maybe. Patrick Kane, if he's still on the team. Patrick Kane looked really good last night.
He did look really good. Just on the power play. He's going to be good on the power plays for, he could play on a power play when he's 50 years old. Yeah, if Kane makes the team, I could see him getting the C. I could see them giving Matthews the C.
Yeah, maybe.
Obviously, yeah. I mean,
Quinn Hughes, maybe.
No, I hope they wouldn't go with Quinn Hughes. Like on a team that's going to be that stacked, like you don't want a soft-spoken guy as your captain. Like I get it for Vancouver, like he's the best player on that team, but Quinn Hughes wouldn't be the best player on this Team USA team.
No, you're right. I'm so excited. Imagine a USA Canada matchup with like the players on both sides. Oh my god, dude! Like
and that's what I'm saying with the media. Like I hope this gets hyped up to where these guys are like want to run through Canada. Like I hope these guys want to kill each other.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll get like that, especially if it's like Saturday night. Big matchup. Oh my gosh,
dude! There's nothing better. Like
Connor Hellebuck's probably the starter for the US.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's the,
Yeah. All right. Did you see we were talking about the Devils Red Wings game there for a second. Sorry, I wanted to bring up, did you see Michael Rasmussen staring down Jack Hughes after putting in the empty netter?
When I watched that, like that is, when I played sports growing up, like that's 100% how I acted. Like you score an empty netter and you bulldoze the other team's best player. I would have leaned down like Radko Gudas style and just screamed at him like little bitch. And then you see Hughes get up and like almost like on the verge of tears, like, hey man. Yeah, it was awesome. I would have given him an earful. And I don't even know what was going on all game. Who knows? Maybe they were jawing at each other all game. Maybe they weren't. But yeah, I mean, you score an empty net goal and you knock over a superstar, you should be in his face, right?
Yeah, I agree. What other thoughts you got from the week that was, maybe the weekend that is? Games tonight, 4 games tonight in the NHL, 4 on Sunday. I like the weekend. I know you were saying that the NHL needs to ditch Saturday and schedule more Friday and other days, but I kind of like the ease in to the weekend and ease out of like 4 games, and then you got a nice jam-packed Saturday, and then because I think if you're a hockey guy, like you're gonna watch the hockey games. Like I'll watch the college football games a little bit, but it's not like I'm sitting there glued to the couch for every single college football game. Like I'm not that kind of guy, right?
I'm not gonna lie, like neither am I, but I've been watching more college football on Saturdays than I've been watching NHL, honestly. Yeah. And it's like, why is there not the biggest NHL slates should be on Friday and Tuesday? And it's like, I feel like they're missing an opportunity. Is there nobody working for the NHL suggesting to Gary Bettman, hey, maybe we should make Friday our day? Nothing happens on Fridays sports wise.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Like if you look around at like any league, any sport, nobody's really, I would be interested to see I don't know if there's anybody still in chat, but like, I can't think of like anything really major that goes on Fridays. Take that over. You're already seeing like all these leagues are already trying to do stuff like around holidays. Like I know like the NFL is trying to do like not just Thanksgiving now. Now they're having a game on Friday. They're doing a Black Friday game. And it's like you see like, you know, the NBA does Christmas really well. And it's like the NHL should be doing stuff like that. I know that we have like the Winter Classic game is pretty much always like on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. But yeah, why are you not like claiming Friday? It's wide open. It's the first day of the weekend. Like you'd have so many eyes. That should be your
I think
biggest
the
slate.
NHL has historically been a Wednesday, Saturday league. I
Yeah.
think we talked about this a little bit with like the Hockey Night in Canada stuff. But so I think they want to like stick to that. I think.
But why though? Is there any good explanation? Is there any good reasoning behind that? Other than just because?
No.
It's like the smallest major sport in the U.S. Can we grow this thing? Can we stop? Can we like, you know, I love there's tradition in the NHL that makes it what it is. I understand that. But there's some stuff like this that it's like too good of an opportunity to pass up, you know? Like, why are we not playing on Fridays? Why is there not a massive slate? It doesn't
Agreed.
make sense.
Connor McDavid versus Sidney Crosby tonight.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I saw McDavid said that Crosby should be captain of Team Canada.
Yeah, I played the clip on my show today.
Always a good what are your thoughts on that? Obviously,
On what?
right?
Well, duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
He's obviously
Sidney
never going to
Crosby.
say he's obviously never going to say it should be me.
Sidney Crosby gets up for these games still. Like against McDavid, especially McDavid and McKinnon, I think he gets up for those games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of passing of the guard a little bit. You know, they're both must watch, can't miss guys. So that'll be fun. Tomorrow, big slate. Jeez, yeah, it just sucks, man. Like, why?
So much hockey. What are you complaining about? They're all kind of spaced out
Saturday.
nicely.
Like, I'm working tomorrow night, bro.
Oh,
like,
true.
Any of this shit. Like,
I just don't like all the games at 6. That's my complaint.
yeah. Why do you do that? I guess you're trying to model it kind of after like the NFL, you know, has everybody at noon, and then there's a couple teams at 3, and then there's one game at 7:15. But it's like space them out, especially since you've got all these teams in you know, Western time zones. You don't need to start everybody at 6. Yeah, I like you should have 6 p.m. start time. Few teams start at 6, few teams start at 6:30, few teams start at 7:15. You got a couple 8:30s, and then you got like 2 9 o'clocks. Like that's what should be done.
How about Jets Flames being sneaky the best game on the schedule tomorrow?
I think I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
Nothing else is really catching my eye.
No, I mean I think Buffalo, Detroit in the afternoon is going to be really good. Yeah, Maple Leafs, Boston. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That'll be a good one. Kings, Utah should be a good little mid-afternoon kind of game.
The Islanders shouldn't even be allowed to like play on on television in general. I've now like not watched entire games, but I've like checked in on a few Islanders games. That team is so fucking boring, man.
Yeah, I wish there was something that they could do to do it, but they just need a complete overhaul of the way that they construct the club and the way that they think about it. I think they're starting to, right? They didn't bring back guys like Clutterbuck and whatever.
You talk about wasting Connor Bedard's, you know, just a couple years of Connor Bedard's career. Matt Barzal, I mean,
Well, they made 2 Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I guess, but those were like you always knew they weren't gonna win.
Oh, dude, that's so not true. They were a goal away. They were a goal away from winning the Stanley Cup, you could argue, because they would have beaten the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I guess there's something to be said there. Gee, so they've got him till 2027, 2028.
Yeah.
3 more full seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they need an overhaul. That team is not going to win. They just aren't good enough. Those players are like, you know, like JG Pageau and Anders Lee, and I mean, we're talking about like, good depth players, but that's like that's the build of your top six. It's like, ugh.
No, I agree. And then the Sunday slate, you got 4 games again. Oilers Red Wings should be a good one too. Obviously, anything with the Oilers are must watch. I mean, the Red Wings are putting it together. Maybe. It's either going to be,
3 straight.
huh?
They've won 3 straight.
Yeah, they've won 3 straight. It's either going to be them, Ottawa, or Buffalo. And the way it's looking, I mean, I would say Ottawa right now is the best of those 3 teams. And I don't know how many playoff spots they're fighting for because Washington looks a lot better this season. And New Jersey looks like they're going to be in the playoffs again. So I don't know. If that happens, you're hoping that Boston and or the Islanders miss the playoffs. So
yeah, when I look at this Detroit team, it's like watching them feels so similar to watching them last year. It's like they're really fun, exciting. They can score goals, but they let in a lot of goals and they're not good defensively. I think you're going to see this all season where it's like they're going to go on little stints where they win games, but then ultimately might finish like just outside the playoff picture. I hope that they make it. Obviously, out of those 3 teams that you just mentioned, I would love for it to be Detroit just because they've got Kane and DeBrincat. But yeah, I don't know. They're just so weak defensively.
it's Friday. I forgot we do questions on Friday. And I wish we had gotten to do this with Justin here. This would have been fun, especially this first question that I'm looking at. Can I ask you it?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some Frozen Frenzy and saw Chicago legend Brendan Hagel have a 4-point night in Tampa, and it got me thinking, who is everyone's favorite post-2015 pre-Bedard Blackhawk? Not allowed to say DeBrincat or Panarin because everyone loved them. My personal deep cut is Kubalik. A shame he couldn't make a roster this year.
It's a good question. Now I'm gonna need to go back because I remember when we picked up Kubalik, and then I remember when we picked up Pia Suter, and I was like, oh dude, this guy's awesome. Like another guy that we're just sneaking from Europe that nobody knows about.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury was fun. Robin Lehner. I loved Robin Lehner during his brief stint here. I liked Matthias Janmark a lot.
Yeah.
I liked Matthias Janmark a lot. I thought he was awesome. And he ended up being like a good depth piece for the Oilers, and he bounces around a ton.
Artem Anisimov, he wasn't on the Stanley Cup team.
No. Yeah. No, but I guess he counts. He was in that window that like post 2015. He played like 2016, 2017, 2018 probably with
yeah, he did.
I
think Panarin's a good answer. Or not Panarin. Sorry, Anisimov.
Anisimov.
Yeah. Right? That's a good.
Yeah, that's a good one. I also like Dylan Strome. There was like one season with Dylan Strome when he first came here and started playing with Cat and Kane. That was like my freshman year at DePaul. He was awesome too for a little bit.
Brian Campbell, does he count as an answer?
No, Brian Campbell was like pre-2015. Like he retired.
He came back and played his last season with the Hawks in 2016-17, played 80 games for the Hawks. 5 goals, 12 assists, 17 points after playing 5 seasons with the Panthers.
I'm not counting that.
That's a fun answer, though.
He was like 2010.
That's a fun answer. But he came back.
Yeah. And then he like immediately started just like working for the team. All right. Do you have anything else? I think this has been a good show.
Yeah, I was just going to see if we had any more questions. We could have left it at that. Yeah, I mean, some of these questions, a lot of these guys are asking the same stuff of, hey, and we appreciate the questions, so keep sending them in. That's not, but it's a lot of like, hey, are we trading some of these prospects? Are we, and we already kind of did that talk earlier on the Hawks Hour of the podcast. So
hopefully we are trading prospects and draft capital
Who do you think should be playing with the team? Who do you think, we've kind of delved into that. Give us get creative with some of these questions, like we love the creativity of like that first question we read, right? That's super fun. And we can talk about that for a few minutes. So, anything else? No?
No, I guess I'll leave with, I hope we package draft picks, for this next draft and move into the top 5.
Great way to end it and end the week. All right. We will be back later today for the post-game show after the Hawks Preds game. So this will not be the only time we are live from this channel today. Be back after the Hawks game tonight and after the Hawks game tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you are an audio listener, or even if you're watching right now on video, it helps if you go over to our Spotify page, leave a 5-star rating there. Same thing for Apple, but Spotify helps a lot. They're all great. Subscribing to this page really helps us. So we greatly appreciate it. It helps the show grow. And that is the only way that, we keep this going, is if it keeps growing. So, we love all the support. Like I said, all the off the hop, like all the people that listen all over the world is so cool for us. I never really thought that we could do a show about hockey like this and have that kind of global reach, but, hockey's a global sport. So I shouldn't have really doubted that in the first place, but, you all are awesome, and we love you all. Thoughts, Lee? Words?
No, it was awesome. Yeah, just follow all the socials, and we'll be back this weekend and back next week, Monday, for another full episode.
Yep. Monday podcast, post-game show tonight, tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.
Go Hawks.
Did he?